You're kind of stuck. What's she gonna do now? Oh, you gotta go around. You gotta go around there. It's a long-necked tortoise. This poor guy. Hundreds of these get killed in the region, just hit by cars every year. So he's coming from that little lake over there, that little pond, and I guess he's gonna go up here, or she rather, and probably lay her eggs. You know, but it's just a golf course up there, so I don't know. It's kind of sad. Go up on the sandy open plains. Again, pretty terrible soil. That's why the Proteas do so well. Like that Banksia coccinea, nice Isopogon. Sundews on everything, Drosera on everything. This is a relatively young Banksia, Scarlet Banksia. And of course you got a Kingia. This guy, well, they grow about 1 centimeter a year, so you figure he's probably 500 years old, at least. And at some point, it looks like he got blown over in a storm or just collapsed, but it didn't kill him, so he kept growing. This was already, the storm must have happened right about at this age, right here. So he blew over and then just continued growing vertical, because they don't grow horizontal, obviously. They grow completely vertically up. You can see all the hairs that make him stand out apart from Xanthoria, which is an unrelated plant that he looks a lot alike. And then here's one that's, I mean, this is the most, this is the tallest one I've seen. This is a fucking 25-foot tall Kingia. Kingia australis, Isopogon in the order of palms. So unlike Xanthoria, he's not in the asparagus order, the agave order. He's in the palm order. These are, I mean, these are such, you know, these are just, it's just like a tall pom-pom, basically. But that's the old, again, these grow so slow. This is the oldest, tallest one I've seen. You know, just growing on the sandy, barren soil with all the Proteas. You know, Proteas big and small. You got your Scarlet Banksias, and then you got your little Petrophiles and Isopogons, and then got some Epacryds too. Now Ericaceae. In a landscape totally adapted to fire. I mean, you can see, look at all the burn scars, the black burn scars on his trunk. Kingia, everybody. And then you got a little hammer orchid that's already been pollinated. See how swollen? Look at how swollen that ovary is. A Northria scabra everywhere. Andersonia. Look at this Myrtaceae. This Myrtaceous bastard. Why don't you get up there and look at us. It's a beautiful, somewhat overcast morning in the foothills of the Stirling Ranges, and here we have a very interesting Banksia. It's one of the prostrate growing Banksias. Check this guy out. Look at that. Look at the ants are just going nuts on those that flower right there. Hopefully they're not biting, because the flies are kind of driving me nuts enough as it is. The flies don't bite, they just fucking hang out on you trying to get salt, I guess, but they mob up on you. I mean, it's it's fucking holy Christ. Anyway, so this is a Banksia. It's a Protea that doesn't get any taller than, I don't know, 10 inches, 12 inches at most. There's the foliage, that lovely, highly serrated foliage. Look at the abaxial surface there. Look at that, all that wax, all that white stomatal wax. Sclerophyllous and leathery. So these lower growing Banksias seem to mostly be pollinated by marsupials. That's why a lot of them end up growing on the ground. So those little honey possums and what the shit can get to them. I think the Banksia coccinea, that beautiful red one, is largely pollinated by honey possums, which just climb up there. You know, rather slow-moving marsupial. That's why they've been such easy game for the foxes and feral cats. It seems that the ants might be pollinating these, but it doesn't really seem like any of those flowers are open yet. So what you're looking at is, you know, roughly 80 flowers right there. Those tiny ones, and those little white filaments, those are the pollen presenters, which again have not come out of those fuzzy valvate tepals. So that's, you know, the tepals, of course, it's like essentially the corolla, and then that little presenter, of course, comes out. And it presents the pollen, and then it goes into the female phase. Looks like there might be some sort of nectar residue on there, too, that's acting as an attractant. And then over here, this is a pretty interesting plant. So this is a species in a genus that is mostly trees. The she-oaks, order Phagales, genus Alocassarina, in the Cassarinaceae. But this is Alocassarina humilis, and again, this one doesn't get larger than, I mean, 5 feet. This you could consider old growth. A nice little stylidium here. One of the 300 species of stylidium, the trigger plants. Nice little basal rosette. So there you go. These little what look like cones, these little fruits are of course fire respondent. They open in response to fire once a low burning bushfire comes true. And then let me show you this tree over here. This is a real nice one. One of the very nice eucalypts. Hey, let's get another money shot at the Banksia again. Amongst all the wallaby and kangaroo shit. So here you go. Here's Eucalyptus pluricarpa. Waxy as hell. Smells real nice. It smells like a potpourri basket. You know? Remember my stepmother had one of those when I was a kid? And she put it in the bathroom, and then, I was normally in trouble when I was over there. So it kind of makes me feel, brings me back to the time of being disciplined. You know, when I was like 9. But that aside, it does smell pretty good. Look at that. Look at that stem. It's like almost, look at the structure on it. Keeled, ridged, winged, whatever the shit you want to call it. Super waxy. I'd love to see these when they're going off, you know. Once they're flowering. Once that operculum, that cap comes off. And each, you got the operculum up top and the hypanthium down below. The hypanthium is like the chalice. And then the operculum is like the little lid for it. And it comes out, you get just dozens of stamens poking out. Remember, Myrtle family, Myrtaceae, so dozens of stamens in a ring around that central disc, that central ovary disc where you get the stigma coming out. Oh, that smells real nice. I'm going to take a little piece of this, put it on the dash, you know. Maybe cover up the smell of rotting feet and off-gassing plastic that the van smells like right now. Oh, this one. Talk about deception. I swear, you put a lot of stress on organisms, plants or animals, and the things they come up with just to be able to keep surviving, whether it's highly toxic venom or incredible mimicry strategies, is pretty amazing. This is Hakea trifurcata. And a remarkable thing about this plant is that you can see it's got dimorphic leaves. It's got 2 kinds of leaves. It's got the regular hard proteaceous needle-like leaves, and then it's got these kind of phyllodes looking things right here. And the purpose of these phyllodes is actually to confuse the shit out of herbivores that might try to eat these precious fruits right here. So it basically makes its leaves, it's evolved its a leaf structure that's dimorphic. So some of those leaves end up looking like the fruits. So things, things will confuse, things that would eat them, that would gnaw them, would confuse those fruits for leaves and just say, fuck it, it's not worth it. Because there's far more leaves than fruits, So you come around trying to gnaw on these things, you realize it's just this leathery, hard, relatively nutrient-lacking leaf instead of one of those seeds that contains all the carbs and the fat. And you just say fuck it, let it go, and don't bother with it. So you get the general gist. The benefit here that's construed to the plant is that in having two leaf types, one leaf that looks a lot like those precious fruits is that the fruits don't get eaten, and it obviously gets to pass on the seeds contained in those fruits and start the next generation. Pass on its genes, and it's successful without being consumed by little marsupials and kangaroos and birds and whatever the shit they would otherwise eat those precious fruits. It's pretty ingenious. It seems to work for it, Again, Hakea trifurcata. And these can be just little prostrate bushes, or they can be up to about 6-8 feet tall. Another proteaceous gentleman right there. And there's Hakea prostrata living up to its name. Ooh, rather spiny and abrasive. Hair-state looking leaves. You see this prostrate right here, but you don't always see it like that. Sometimes you'll see it and it'll be, 8 goddamn feet tall. But here, of course, it's living up to its name, a prostrate bastard. I can't believe how tiny these fucking Alocasarinas are. This is in a genus that's normally, 60-foot tall trees. One of the many Hubertias. So Proteas come in all shapes and sizes. They get up to 30-foot tall trees to other guys like this, the little stem photosynthesizing leafless little guy. Look at those flowers. You can see the pollen presenters are out and ready. The tepals are recurved. And again, almost none of I don't believe any of these Proteas are mycorrhizal. Here's the Hakea prostrata. A lot of the myrtles, the myrtaceae, the eucalypts, etc. are all mycorrhizal, but the Alocasarinas are certainly a mycorrhizal, and they got the actinomycetes. But all the Proteas, of course, just got those proteoid cluster roots, those roots that there's that Banksia again. There's a fruit just waiting for a fire to come true. Yeah, the Proteas just got those proteaceous cluster roots. And that's why they've proved so susceptible to the dieback. From the Phytophthora, the Irish potato blight relative. Look at this little Drosera. The little towering Drosera. Jesus Christ, there's so many kinds of this, so many species in this genus out here, it's crazy. God, I wish some of these fucking flies would end up stuck on that thing. Holy shit. It's funny, you touch some of these, you touch them and your hands get wet. They're just so laden with fluid. With the, quote, sundew that helps them obtain their nitrogen. It's amazing how often you get one plant stealing another plant's material out here. That nobody does their own bit. I guess a couple do, but, floral mimicry, stealing somebody else's material is pretty common out here. Here's a plant in the Myrtle family, Myrtaceae. And at first glance, it looks like it's actually in the daisy family, Asteraceae, but of course, it's completely unrelated. This is Verticordia chrysantha. So at first glance, it looks like a daisy. Then you get up close and you realize it's not a daisy at all. It's actually got the diagnostic features of plants in the Myrtle family. Many stamens surrounding a central disc, and out of that central disc is peeking that little single antenna looking thing, the style and stigma. It is remarkable. And you see this so much, you know. It's just, you see your neighbor, it's a good idea, and you say, yeah, fuck it, I'm going to do that too. Seems to be working for him. So you got the myrtle that thinks it's an aster. You know, and not all the verticordias, of course, are yellow. You know, many are pink. You'll see some that are white. It's a pretty diverse genus. And it's a beautiful genus, too. I mean, it's a woody shrub. There's the foliage right there. Needle-like, woody, and what the shit, what have you. It's this whole bush. Anyway, there you go. Verticordia, chrysantha. Let's get one more quick money shot. Get up close. You can see it doesn't, of course, it doesn't have any calyx. Because it's not an aster. Or, excuse me, calyx. It doesn't have any involucre. Because it's not an aster. Just growing on the nutrient-deprived lowlands with all the 9,000 species of Protea and a couple eucalypts. God, holy shit. The Proteas are incredible. These might as well be razor blades. These might as well be composed of some sort of aluminum. You know, I mean, they feel like razor wire at the tips of them. It's fucking incredible. Anyway, here's another Proteaceae. That looks like a Hakea. Hakea. You can pronounce it however the fuck you want. I can't believe people worry about that. Again, I know I've said that too many times. You know, I'm kind of going on like a delusional old man rant here. Even though I'm only in my 30s. But still, it's just, it doesn't matter. Hakea, you get the idea. Like I said, my friends in Mexico, because of the way, you know, words come out in Spanish, pronounced Latin names, fucking ways, I mean, they come up with some wild shit. But I still know what they're talking about because a vowel's a vowel and a consonant's a consonant. Anyway, here we go. There's a species of Hakea with just extremely abrasive foliage. Flowers are done. You could see, you know, and just, God. I mean, I'm sitting on some right here and it's just stabbing me. This is not tender foliage at all. Very stiff, very sharp. You know, a plant that just doesn't want to be eaten. It doesn't want to be eaten, and it doesn't want birds or cockatoos or whatever the fuck coming by and trying to fly off with those follicles. Incredible. I hope many of these are still left, you know, after the 6 mass extinction we're causing. You know, again, an invasive root rot native to, I believe, Southeast Asia is just taking all the Proteas apart. You just see massive dieback, just entire populations of, especially the Banksias, entire populations of Banksias with just dead leaves, dead foliage, browned, withering, all crinkly, entire trees dead. Anyway, moving right along. And then more exciting, too, is this Calytrix, which is probably one of the most gorgeous flowers in the Myrtle family, Myrtaceae. But there's so many. Looks like it might be Calytrix similis. Look at these flowers. Look at how plumose that calyx is. Those filamentous ends. Oh, what a stunner. Doesn't that make you feel nice? Look at that. Don't you take a little nice gander at that. Get my my ugly mitt out of the way. There you go. Been seeing these for a while. They don't really get, they don't seem to get taller than a foot or two. But they're real nice to look at nonetheless. Quite a few species of Calytrix. Yeah, so look at that. It's another stylidium. God, you know, there's so many variations on this. There's so many different species. And again, with that real nice basal rosette. The basal rosette's almost as pretty as the flowers. Another Herbertia again. And then this one is a Protea. It's another Protea, Proteaceae, of course, but it's a real fucking weird one. That doesn't get taller than about 1.5 feet. It's a species of Synaphia. You really got, I mean, the flowers don't look proteaceous at all until you get up close and look at them. Epacrodaceae, which of course now is in the blueberry family, Ericaceae. Real interesting corollas there, huh? And again, all these are heavily mycorrhizal. Just relying on a symbiosis with fungi in this really shit soil. That's, again, covered in marsupial shit. This one is a parasite. This is right, a hemiparasite, I guess. You know, he can photosynthesize a little bit, but he's also borrowing some from his friends, possibly that Hakea trifurcata over there. This is a species in the genus Olax. And many of these smell like hell. It's actually quite funny. I took a branch of one of these because I really like that imbricate foliage. See that? Just like roofing shingles, just leaves overlapping each other almost perfectly. And I threw one of these in a book, and then I was reading the book the next day, and you know, it smelled kind of like foot rot and like someone had left the stove on, like the gas stove on. So it smelled kind of like natural gas, mixed with a little bit of foot rot and maybe a little bit of a metallic taste to it. And I was just getting this fucking awful smell, and I was wondering if it was my feet, you know, which, you know, my feet are normally in pretty good condition, but I stepped in the ocean the other day, and my boots got a little nasty. Anyway, I was wondering what it was, if it was maybe someone left a piece of rotting food out or something. It was in a restaurant, and it was just I identified the source, and it was the branch of Olax that I had shown in my book. It was fucking incredible. It was kind of funny. You know, that's a nice deterrent to prevent things from eating you too. Get some waxy foliage and just make it smell like hell. There's the fruits right there. Ovaries maturing. Who knows when these bloomed? I believe they're little white flowers. Seen another species of Olax on the coast the other day, a couple days ago, and but it wasn't that one. It had much larger leaves. Here, look at it. Oh, that's nice. I'm so interested in the parasites. It's a pretty brilliant strategy. You live in this shitty nutrient-deprived soil. You don't have mycorrhizae. You don't have proteaceous roots. You got to come up with some kind of strategy. Why not just steal it? I guess, huh? It's not the best strategy if you anthropomorphize it, but you know, it works for them. So here in the scrublands, this pink guy is dominant. I mean, well, there's not much right here, but there was a shit ton over there. Just fields of this stuff. One of the dominant plants, obviously, in the Myrtle family. Look at those woody capsules. But even more interesting to note is get up there and look at those flowers. What you basically got going on is all those stamens fused. So you got many fused stamens, but only coming out of five central bases there that surround that disc. And then, of course, at the ends, the distal ends of those 5 stamens, it just opens up into many more. So they're all fused at the base into a strap-like appendage. That's fucking wild. It's probably a Melaleuca. I'm gonna go with Melaleuca. Though I guess we'll have to see. We'll figure this out later. We'll have to get down to the bottom. And then the foliage is just these little scale-like bracts. It looks conifer-like almost. It's fucking weird. Look at the bracts on that woody stem. Still got some photosynthetic bracts. Some little leaves, bract-like leaves, woody capsule, and this is just everywhere. So you know, I figured I might as well take a little bit closer of a look at it, see what we got going on. It's obviously a Myrtle family, a Myrtaceae, probably a Melaleuca, but again, remarkable is just that flower structure. It's quite beautiful. Holy shit. Oh yeah, and then to really fuck your mind up, here's another species of Myrtaceae that looks very much like the one I just showed you, but it's not. It's a different species there. It's really, it's fucking, holy shit. You could really fuck your mind up here. Look at the fruits. Woody capsule waiting for a fire. And you can see that flower is actually just a big cluster of flowers. obviously, and it keeps growing. The important thing to note is you can see from that fruit there, remember that fruit was probably a flower, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago maybe, is that it just keeps growing out of that apex, of that, so it's not a terminal end right there. So it flowers, it does its thing, and then the shoot just keeps growing. You can already see it's starting to grow again right there out of the center of that flower head, out of that cluster. So it looks like the one I just showed you, except all those stamens are not fused at the base into 5 separate bases. Holy shit. You know, it's really, you really got to pay attention. That's what I've been enjoying down here, is just having to pay harder attention to all this shit instead of just, oh yeah, that's so-and-so, or oh, that's so-and-so. Really got to just look. Fucking wild. And then, of course, just adaptation to fire. In everything. In everything. Little pineapple-looking fruit. Many fruits aggregated into one pineapple-looking thing that just opens in response to a fire, to a low burning brush fire. And then, of course, who doesn't love an anagoxanthus? Look at that corolla tube. Nectar at the base, stamens up top, the dust ahead of the pollinators. You know, the marsupials could get this. The little tiny marsupials could get this one too. Doesn't just got to be birds. So just at the edge of the Stirling Range, take a look at these bastards right here, these whooping guys. See them? It's a species in the sandalwood family, Santalacea. This is Exocarpus sparteus. And like almost all the Santalacea, it's a parasite. It's at least a hemiparasite, which means it can photosynthesize on its own, but it's going to borrow a little bit from its friends. I guess maybe they're not friends. It's just, I don't know. You ever had friends borrow shit from you without asking? I have. Broom ballard. And this is an Australian endemic. You know, it's not the most charismatic plant, but it's pretty interesting. Anytime you find a plant that's a parasite, you know, that's found a way to cope with the rather harsh conditions by parasitizing on other plants is pretty remarkable. At least from an evolutionary standpoint, and what the shit. Another Stackhousia. Is that Stackhousia? Yeah. Anyway, there you go. Exocarpus sparteus. The broom ballard. Yeah, there we go. Another crazy looking Proteaceae. Wild looking, even though it's not in flower. This is Hakea cuculata. Red flowers when it does flower. There's the follicles though. It's done. There's the new foliage. Up here it's super soft. Down here it's, you know, like a normal proteoid. Just leathery and hard. Definitely unpalatable. You know, say you're a kangaroo or something. Look at that nice imbricate foliage. I mean, these just, the fucking proteas, they're incredible. They look so wild. All the time. There's another one. This looks like a Banksia. Just super leathery, tough, rugged ass foliage. That's some rugged ass foliage. And then of course the form as they get older, I mean, it just, I don't know what you would call it. Looks like a goddamn candelabra. You know, no leaves up the first 10 feet of the stem. Do you catch a theme here with the Proteaceae? You see how wonderful they are? It's too bad you got to go to South Africa or Australia to see them. To really get a decent taste. And of course, all fire adapted. You got Banksia sessilis right there. It's either sessilis or ilicifolia. Look at the venation on it. God damn it.